I think they need to work on it even more than just putting up a notice. They really need to work on people. Good. So this is already working, is it? Good. So it's Hemshech. Tonight is Oil Ayin Adar. Hemshech Ayin Beis. Ma'im Dibu Amasil HaMachaseh Mi Avraham. Omud Tufnun Beis. Omud Tufnun Beis. So I think we're holding in the middle of the lead-in of the new Maimon of Pasha Vayero, and we got down to the end of the Kashiyas. So he brought down a medrash, the Rebbe, that Amachas ani shenosen kol olam laAvraham Avinu. וגם מהו אין שנוסן לא יעשה אילום, וגם צריך להבין דלכר מהו איש חדשת בזה, על הקשיבו אורץ נוסן לבני אדם. זה לכר כלל הסיני von אילום התחתון. כי המתנתר was anyway בלבו הכי ברשוס הבני אדם. Is כאילו, was it these chadches in the Loshen נוסן es האילום לאברהם. אלא צריכים לומר, that the Inyan of Avraham Avinu is Inyan Miyuchad, that Ali Day said he was zeichet to Inyan from Kol Ha'olam, Nosen Loi, even Miyuchad. So we need to understand what is that Yichud, what's the Inyan Miyuchad Bezeh. Gam tzorich lovin ma she'omer ve'Avraham hoye yiyeh legoy godel. The mashmois ha'inyan she'hein shayochim zeh lezeh. That the Eivzer HaMachaseh ani mi'Avraham, can I then hide or conceal anything from Avraham Avinu? Ve'Avraham hoye yiyeh legoy godel. It's mashma that a hemshech einer von die andere, and that kila the Avraham hoye yiyeh legoy godel is in the sinus time. And a view why I can't possibly hide anything from Avraham Avinu. In other words, that the gadlus by the Eibishter ad kedikach, that he can't possibly hide anything from him, which he's about to carry out in the Bria. That is because Avraham hoye yiyeh legoy godel. Tzarich lahavin ma'u hashayches ha'inyonim zeh lezeh. What are those two inyonim? Shayachim, one to the other, that one's kilo abiyah and unsinus time of the other. That's where we were holding. Lahovin kol zeh yesh lahaktim ashen isbur liyil the b'chochmas timoah yesh beis madreges. What chochmas timoah, as we saw, is chochma da'arich, and in chochma da'arich yesh beis madreges chitzenius upnimius. The chitzenius chochmas timoah u'b'chinas moker lechochma da'atzilas. So, albeit we saw that it's not a moker in a even Yosha, ela it's a moker b'derech Cyrus, as we learned ba'arichas in the previous prokim. Aber al kaponim from chochmas timoah is nimshe chochma da'atzilas, which is chochma ilah. That's already chochma gluya. So, albeit the original kasha was that l'chera, the whole union of the mamutza is model from the ne'atzolim. So that if we turn to the chokhmas timoas al choponim, afila bo'even shel Cyrus bilvad, well, that's a union from shocha b'derech richuv. But afu became it is a moker, then we al choponim were metaratz the kasha that there is a kesher from chokhmas timoah to chokhma geluya. And that means that the etzem madregen for chokhmas timoah is a inyan shel chokhma, albeit lav b'chokhma yediyah of al choponim it is העניין von Chochma. וגם זה הוא למעלה מבחינת החוכמה, והוא בחינת מקיף. Now we saw that there was another inyan in Chochma Stimor, that it was Lamaila Mibchinas HaChochma, and it was Makif al Inyan HaChochma. Dimi Yesh Bchinas Pnimiyas, Arizeh Mikol Mochim Bchinas Makif. V'ainu Makif Te'er Yosho. V'lo Chena Amshoche I Alidei Reach HaKtoiras Davke, Shalidei Zeh Nimshuk Mibchinas Shemen HaManoira. The Reach Hu Bchinas Makif. So we saw that that was like a middle point in Chochma Stimor. It wasn't Mamish Chitzenius Chochma Stimor, because Chitzenius Chochma Stimor was the sort of mokia to Chochma Hagluya. On the other hand, it's not Pnimis V'Atzmius Chochma Stimor, because as we're about to see, that's the union from Pnimis Atik, Mamish. And that's the union from Gilui in an Atzmus Bechina Taktena Shebamaitzel. Therefore, we have to say that that's like a middle madrega in Chochma Stimor. In other words, that's Chochma Stimor Atzmo. Not how she's a kli, but even Lamaila, but even Shals Gula to the Gila Atzmus. No, Chochma Stimor b'madrigosa he. Well, that's a union from Makif, but it's a Makif of Oyer Yosho. In other words, a Makif b'derech Amshocha Me'umaylala Matam. We saw that was the union of the Reyach. What Reyach is the union from Makif, we saw Barich is. And also the Reyach of the Kitoiris, how it is in the Eichal. And we saw that was a Makif which was Nimshach al Hapnimi. And its union was to be Mechazik the Pnimi, and to be Moisif a Toisefas Gilui in the Pnimi. But not that it was a union from Makif Amiti, but there Amiti is union a Makif. It was a Makif Ashayich El Pnimi. And therefore we saw that the Hamshocha was only the Reach Akteres, that the union from Reach Akteres is Afo became Reach. Shali Deize Nimshu Bchinas Shemen HaManoira, the Reach Hu Bchinas Makif. And we saw that the union from Shemen is also the union from Chochma Stimor. However, we saw that also two madregas. We saw there was the union from Shemen HaManoira, but the Manoira is also Baheichal, it's not Bekodesh, not Shayat to Kodesh HaKadoshim, and it's a union which is Shayat to Gilu in the Nishomas Adar and Biyah. And therefore, that's a union from Shemen, which is also upon him Shayat to Amshocha into Atzilus, and through that even into Biyah. And the union of the Keteris Bezeh is that it's Moisif, a Toikif, and a Pnimius in was ultimately the Pnimi. And that's union of Manoira. Omnam Bchinas Pnimius Chochma Stimor, he Bchinas Moicha Daktiko Mamish. Yeah, Bchinas Pnimius Atik. So we saw that was the union of Moicha Datiko. Now we're soon going to see what's more about that. Behemshech, was it a Pshat Moicha Datiko? Wie kommt Moich in the union von Atik was for Sheiches Moich to the union von Atik. Aber upon him, the Pnimius Chochma Stimor is Mamish Moicha Datiko, and that's the union from Pnimius Atik. We're going to see that Moicha Datiko is what we call Das Da'atik. That's the union. What Das is in these madregas, Das is Machlif Sakeser, what Das is the union from Pnimius Mamish. Therefore, it can be as well known that the union Shadas Nimna, Eina Kesa Nimna, or that's the union from Pnimius of Atika Mamish, Bechinas Pnimius Atik. And that's what we saw was the emes of pure in Pnimius Abba, who Pnimius Atik was the emes in Pnimius Chochma Stimor. So, Pnimius Machiv to reach that level, you have to be Misale in the Machiv of Oyer Choiza, Shesosum Venelam Be'etem. And we saw that the Machiv of Oyer Choiza is Oile and Niklau in the Atzmus in a even from Steamers for Helem. Masha in the Machiv of Oyer Yoshor in Yon is to be Nimshik Pegolui and Davki to be Marachev and even Mamshik Koiches into the Oyer Pnimi. Be'ile the makif of Oyer Choizer in Yoni is where it's Oile Bechazora in the Indian von Tekef Aistauches Melamata, and ultimately it's Nimshach into the Indian von Steamers Nelam Be'etem. What it's well known, that's the two Inyonim in Sosom. The one in Sosom is that it's Nelam, but it's Nelam Mia Mikablim, ve'efshel his Kalas Ela Mikablim, that's the Indian von Yosha Sheba Atik. And then the Indian von Choizer is well known that there's Sosom Venelam Be'etem, or that's the Indian von Pneumius Atik, and Aful Pikain. We see that that's also Nimshach Alidei as a Aveda, which is Lamaila Mida Madida Vagbola Lagamre in even von Oyer Choizer Sheba Odom. We saw that was Indian von Tshuva. Davki Alidei Tshuva, he's Magia in that steamers of Etzem Pneumius Atik. Am Shocha, he Alidei Akteris Deyemake Purim. That's another Akteris altogether, a different Geder. Lagamri and the Indian von Keteris, what that's in to Shuva. And Davki the Tshuva is Oyer Choizer Sheba Odom, and Alidei Zeh, he's Oile into the Indian von Steamers, Atzmias of Chochma Stimor. And Afu Pikain is Mamshich von dort. Ayin von, the Amshocha is Lamata Mata, and there's the Slichas Alvenis with the whole Indian and the whole Gili of Yom Kippurim. So now we go further. We al pi kola now, in the light of all that the Pneumius of Chochma Stimor is Pneumius Atik Mamish, and Pneumius Atik is Mamish Sosom Vanilla. In other words, Etzem Atik is Nimshach into Chochma Stimor, and also that it's Sof a Mokir, Derek albeit, but it is a Mokir to Chochma HaKluya. There Yuvan Eisha Ika Hamamutza Bein HaMa'atzil El HaNer Tzolim. HaMa'atzil means the Eibush, how he is in Pneumius or Atzmius Atik, how he's Ma'atzil all of the spheres. El HaNer Tzolim meaning the spheres. V'chein Bein Atzmus Ein Seif L'Neshamas is Yisrael. If you remember, we had in the chapter Reish Dalet earlier, where the Rebbe pointed out that the ultimate tachlis, the whole mamutza bein keser l'neatzolim, is that ultimately that should also be a mamutza for the Indian of Neshamas Yisrael to be bound to the Atzmas. Because we saw that the Indian, mitis Indian of a mamutza, and not just that it causes a kesher, but derech hamshocha milmaila to the law of Madrega, but it also causes a shaykhis of the law of Madrega to the Atzmas. Dika Madrega, to the Madrega Nilis Beisa, and it causes a shaykhis b'neihem, which means that even the spheres, the Atzilas, we'll take a see about that more, they have a shaykhis, and they're mekabel, amshokha pnimius, alidei de mamutza. That's your mitisinen for mamutza. But the zweitens is, that it also causes a shaykhis, beike with the ganze pnimius hakavona, b'chol ha'inyonim, with us in the shamas is, Yisrael, and the kashus of Neshamas Yisrael, Mamish, in the Atzmas, comes through the union of Chochma Stimor Davke. And he was masber over there in that perik, that's the Ike of the Mamutza. The Ike of the Mamutza is to perform that task. Well, that's well known, the difference between the Chochma, how it is in Seder of Maisa Bereshis, and the Chochma, how it is in Neshamas Yisrael, or Mitzad Pnimis HaKavona. And that's the difference that Alidei Da'inin, or that Mamutza, El HaNer Tzolim, there's a Tifera Inyan happens in Tutzachot, that the Neshamas are able to be Mishkasher Mamish in the Atzmas. And that's because, as he pointed out over there, that the Inyan at the Mamutza of Chochma Stimor, Mitzad the Pnimis Sheboi, it's what we call a mutza hamachaber, and not a mamutza hamafsik. And like he drew the difference, and it's one on the famous sikha from the Rebbe, Melech HaMashiach, to that, the union of the mamutza hamachaber, or a Emes Rebbe is a mamutza hamachaber. He's not a do hamafsik, no, he's mile the madrega taktoina into his chabris shleimer with the madrega elyoina. And that's the Indian, what occurs here also mean Chochmas Timor. Mitzad Echad, it's a Mamutza with the Ne'atzolim. Avo Mitzad, the Pnimi Shabo, we'll see more of that as we go along. It's also, it's Mechaber, the Nishomas with Atzmas Ayin Sefer. Those are the ultimate Tachlis, and that's the emes of Pnimius in the Mamutza. In other words, a Mamutza, a Mechaber, Mamish, in that famous Sikha of the Rebbe, where he speaks about the union of a Rebbe being Atzmus Ayin Sefer Paguf. Bechulu was so hyped with them, one of the Ikin Akudah says this whole union of a Mamutza Mechaber. Amamile, he says, Hu Pchinas Chochmas Timor Davke. And imte that Chochmas Timor is kilo the key to alle inyonim. Kodem it's the key to the etzem shayches ada ishtaushlis beklau and ne'atzolim with the inyan von atzmas, and then we see there's a much more pneumian ultimate shayches the nishamas with atzmas. So I mean, why would you say it's much more shayches, much more pneumias? The inyan of the kesher, the nishamas with the atzmas, because the whole inyan, that what the nishamas come down into a what you might call a separateness or a pirud kaviyocho from Elokus, or that itself is a min it's not a emes a helam, because the nishamas are anyway mushoshim ba'atzmas. Anyway, their whole inyan is atzmas. It's menit that they're given down into say these Stauschels ki'ilu, they were in a even of Yeridas Stauschels or Elamas. Aber bepnimis vi atzmis ein zekar. And therefore, we've got to find some way just to make them shaykh back to their emissar pnimias, and therefore to be machabed and netzolim with atzmis, that has to go to a certain inyan for a mamutza. Aber to be mechabed and nishamas with atzmas, that's only a touch off, as you might say. That touches off the amitis of pnimias anyway, the nishamas, and therefore they just go back, but they're mamutza she'enu mafsik klal into the inyan atzma. That was what was mavur over there in the earlier chapters, particularly in Reish Dalet. That's what the Rebbe was masbir. Therefore, that's an extra inyan, and we'll see about that as we go along. When it's going on in this hemshah, when you see as we go along, you have to be patient. You may have to wait for several chapters and several other yonim. Commission is bu'eli yiyo beperik kuf tzadik po. Dief shaloima damashe hakeser ubchins mamutza zehu rak behabeis madregis da'atik ve'arich. Remember the whole readers we had over there, that normally speaking, what you might call the usual or the orthodox beer is a mamutza between keser and the rashis hagilah, the ne'atzolim, which is chokma. The mamutza is keser. On mitzad the two inyonim in keser, atik ve'arich, that's kilo the mamutza. Yeah, that atik is miskasher mit arich, and arich is reish ne'atzolim. Remember, that's your mamutza. That's what's mavur or makubel. When I say mavur and makubel, I mean be'erech. That's what's mizokt in habe mekaymes. So the Rebbe was masik here that that's not ultimately tenable. You can't really say that that's the ultimate mamutza. Therefore, was atik. It's got two types in the word atik. One word is that it's hatoker mia atzmus, how the atzmus is kilo martikis atzmai, klapi mata, and then there's another type, ne'atak v'nivdal mina ne'atzolim. So, beide Sachen make it impossible to say that it's a tzad in the mamutza. Because if it's hatokas atzmus mamish, then atzmus can't possibly be mischaber with the ne'atzolim. And if we'll say it's ne'atak v'nivdal, the hatok is in the other direction, it's ne'atak v'nivdal, mina ne'atzolim, then the ne'atzolim don't have any real shaykhs. And also we saw that the inyan from arich, albeit it's already closer to the inyan of chokmah, but we saw that all of the spheres and the inyanim, how they are in arich, are another muhus, altogether from the ne'atzolim how they are in atzilas. And that's the difference between al derech dugma, the difference between rotzen and chokhmah. that on the one hand, Rotzen is a Makif Amiti, das ist der Hatoya, Adi Etzem Mamish, and therefore Chochmah is not Nimtza Be'ez Kli, not Chayat Teshum Amshocha Be'Kli, and Adar Avinyoni is Gezeda and Pu'ula, der Helim V'Makif V'Chulu, Ve'ila the Inyan von Sfiras in Yonim is Eures Be'Kelim Davke. And therefore he said over there in chapter Reish Vav and Reish Hay and Reish Ches, we saw over there that he can't possibly, or in this chapter that we just mentioned here also, that you can't possibly say that Arich would be a tzad in a mamutza, because Arich is a mahu sacha altogether than Atzilas. And therefore we have to find some point, kilo, in these two inyonim, which on one hand will have a shaykhis, and not only just have a shaykhis, but it'll also be koil in itself, but even that it'll be possible to be mamshik, the atzmiyas of atik somewhere or another, but even to be machabaret, and zweitens is that there'll be something which has got a shaykhis and a kesher to the union of the netzalim, but even shal kol ponim, it'll have some kesher with the union from Atzilas, and that's what we found in Chochmah Stimua, that we found in, or that's what we're finding now, in the Maskana, that the union from Chochmah Stimua fits the bill, because Chochmah Stimua mitzad echad is the union from Pnimi Yusay, is mamish the union from Bittel, be'etzem ha'atik be'etzem ha'in seif. And the remes is in the union from Atzimus, as we'll soon see in a second. Ve'ila, the union from Chochmah Stimua, is also a mocker al choponim l'chochmah ge, gelui, it's al choponim ha'in it's a union shel Chochmah. I l'chori got the time that it's a union from Chochmah sheberotzen, but al choponim, we saw that from that gather Chochmah, how it is in Arich, the derech Cyrus al choponim, it's nimshach into the union of Chochmah, how it is in Atzilas, and the biur b'zeh is because of the Maila b'Chochmah b'kol mokim, and that's what he's going to go on to be masbir here in this chapter. That see, you can tie it back the other way, and you can say, well, all right, that's a union from Chochmah shebarich, or we just said that these inyonim are rotten how they are in Arich. We come and say that, so okay, he's Chochmah shebarich. What your help to see? What does it help me? I got the clothes tikataina that these are not also amahus. Therefore, we're going to see that vibala that's Chochmah davke. Now Chochmah, how it is in Keser, we're going to see the Maila there is in Chochmah. There's a Maila nifloa, shebinyan a Chochmah b'kol oifen, b'kol mokin sheyimotzei, that makes it al chaponim b'oifen richuk. It makes a child to be ayin for her, even though it's found in a oilam which is klolas inyon is rotten. So v'zeh hecheli, how do they say v'zeh cheli? Here we go. So he says that the orthodox way is to say that who begins mamutza, so rap begins madrega datik ve'arek. And we can't very well say that when we were must be the EF Shalom Akay. Sharei. Atik hu mamish b'chinas taktoina shebe atzmos. Yeah, and here we see the word maitzil is mamish translated by the word atzmos. And we saw that was miktas mino etem. Shehu b'chinas atzmos. V'alkein hu b'chinas ha'toker legamri mi'aner tzolim, gam b'chinas Arich. Yeah, not only just from Atzilas, but even from Arich itself. In other words, the two aspects of the mamutza can't even reach together in the middle. So what does it mean by that expression, miktas mina etzim? It's one of the things you get to sort of swallow it down and just keep going, because it's only just a couple of words. In the middle of in Emerson, he mentioned over there what was it in chapter one of the chapters there, Reish Yud or something or other there. He mentioned when he was talking about it that was the Indian of Miktas Maimah Habal Shem Tov, B'Shem Reb Sadia Cohen, Shata Toifus B'Chelik Mina עצם התעטויפס או מקצס מן העצם התעטויפס בכולו. שלכן, what on earth did the Baal Shem Tov mean with that? What did he mean by saying שהתעטויפס מקצס מן העצם התעטויפס בכולו? לכן, there's no מקצס in העצם. I mean, if you come to the etzem, you come to the etzem. The etzem is bilti mischalik lechalokim, vebilti nimshach, and bilti mischalik, vebilti mishtaush over the whole richas for the get to etzem. So I mean, if you just touch the etzem, then you touch the whole lot. What on earth did he mean when he said, yeah, mixes mino etzem, a tatoifes? I mean, what are you doing grabbing? What are you grabbing and who are you grabbing? Tatoifes, miktas mino etzem a tatoifes bekula. And if over there in that particular stickel from the Hemshech, it wasn't muva kokach. He just said, sha'etzem eine kokach begoloi, and that was it. But later on in the Hemshech, towards the end of this volume, quite a bit towards the end of this whole Chelik Rishon, it is Yomer Abiyah Bezeh. And that's all we say that if we take a dogma from the Maimon Chazal, that Yofik Koyach Ben Mikoyach Av. And it's well known, the pure is that if there's Yofi Koyach Ben, how is that? Mi Koyach Av. It all comes from the Fata. In other words, that which because B'shas the Inyan from Leido is Nimshach Kola Etzem, and Kola Etzem is B'shleimus, B'mun Haki Sholem. And since the whole etzem of the father is not there, b'shas chayav horegilim, he doesn't give over the ganze etzem seinem, and therefore is nimshach as solche inyonim mitzad the etzem mamish to the ben which are not there in the iskalas of the father. And the father, that's the pirush yofi koyach ben mi koyach ha'av. And so the beer is that the etzem is nimshach alidei the inyan ha'azroa, alidei the inyan from Leida. And that's mitzad the inyan ha'moyach, that the moyach is, the ben is dakim in moyach ha'av, kemuvu in Perek Beis in Tanya. So that's what the Rebbe is marvel over there, that's the inyan from miktzas mino etzem. Das heißt miktzas mino etzem. Which, because the etzem over there is behelem. The etzem is not kilu begoloi b'shleimus inyonei, no, the etzem is misalim inside that moyach at the fata, and as how even that it's misalim b'teicha adova nimshuk me'amoyach, what does it the tipper? It's a dova she misalim v'inyan was kilo ein leze kol erach v'shayches. El ha'etzem, and that's called miktas meratzah. But those is where the etzem is misalim, or mezetim nish begoloi. I mean, not that you see the etzem begoloi anyway, but kama she'ef shaloimah that the etzem is what he is, or he's begoloi. That's not how he is over there. He's behelem godel. And I mean that helem is really the helem of the etzem, and therefore it's called miktas mino etzem. If I'm not the pshat miktzas min ha'etzem, it takes a little piece of the etzem, because it's not 5 pieces in ha'etzem. No, it's called miktzas min ha'etzem, because the etzem is behelium, or misalim, and ador she'ein lo ze kol erech elov, or shaychas elov klau. Amamir, it does it the pshat, shatatoivis be miktzas min ha'etzem, atatoivis be kuloi. And if says the Rebbe, that Indian from Atzmus Ayin say, Atzmus Elikus, and for all purposes, Atzmus Mami. Yeah, that finds itself in the Indian from, how they call it, Moiche da Atika, that's what they call Miktzas Mina Etzem. Because we's on the time, Atika is only some sort of shayras to Ne'atzolim. Through that, you read it into Atik, there's going to be the kesher b'mela with the inyan and Ne'atzolim, and therefore it's called the inyan from Tachtoina Sheba Maitzim. Or that entrance into a inyan she'ein leze kol erech elov klau, well, that's called miktus mina atzmas. So this is kaviyohu chelik miktus or chelik mina etzem. And that's what he means in the brackets, that the inyan from bechina tachtoina sheba atzmas is not to say cholila that it's not the whole atzmas, but it enters and it's misalim inside the inyan, which ain leze kol erech elov klau. Even though it's a high madrega, like everything that we know about of a gavi atzmas, it is a helam otzum, and if it's called miktus mina atzmas, miktus mina etem, shuhu bechinas atzmas. The fire he calls it atzmas. And Mamir Nimtzalof, he said that really you got your cake and you got it too. And on the one hand, you do have a beginning of a in which is already sharp to some. Even a mishum ze umitzad ze yimoshech eizeshu gili klapi matter, and yet nonetheless you say that dort is the whole atzmas is dort farah. So that kilo or that impossibility or that tzimtzum ha'atzmas mamish, well, that's called miktus minayet. Das heißt miktus minayet. And the far the Baal Shem Tov was masbir that if you're toifes, if you just have some shaykhs, Indians there, maybe the Russian toifes is also a kilo, almost like a Indian mamoshi. You have to get to it. You can't. It's not shaykh hasoga or nochazoch inyanim. You've got to kilo reach there. You got to get there at a toifes, b'miktas or chelik, mina etzem. Automatically, because that's what he meant to say. That was a way of saying that Yeshu b'chinas atzma. V'yal kein, hu b'chinas ha'toka legamri minaneh tzolim gam b'chinas olim. And that was our original kashi, therefore it's ha'toka both ways. It's ha'toka from the atzmas, not that the atzmas is divided itself up. The atzmas is gone into Hilem, B'teichador Shein, B'ze'erech Elov. And the other way, it's also Hatoka. It's Hatoka back the other way, Milmata L'mayla, from the Inyan of Arich even, not only from the Netzolim, but even from Arich, it's B'chinas Hatoka. Avamir, it's got the beer in Hatoka from both Shtadim. A Kemoikein Gam B'chinas Arich, Shehu Reishu Mokeh HaNetzolim, that was the other kasha, that even though we call it Reishu Mokeh, it's a Rosh and even a Mokeh to the Netzolim, and it's one on the Indian Rosh in the Kutitera, but again to Rosh on the Alter Rebbe is also a Mavayah that the Rosh is Koilu Kola Pratim, Shevaguf, Kola Inyonim Klulim B'Teich HaMoyach, and Mamel the same meaning, that the Atik is a Rosh to the Netzolim, it's Koil and so all the Protya Netzolim, or the Einem Mahusa Netzolim. Nonetheless, even though it's Koil, but it's not the same Mahus, Klau, Shahim, Prinas Chochma, the Netzolim there in is, Ihu Oyer Chatzilus, Chochma is the Indian from Oyer Kolatzilus, Arich Anpin, Hu Prinas Rotzen, Ve'ilo Arich Anpin, its Indian is rotten. Amamir, they're not Pupchinas Shaifas Hamahus Zela Lozer Berichu Hamahus like Amre. Veihu Pupchinas Mamu Cha. How can that be a lower kesha with the Netzolim? It by its Mahus definition, it doesn't have any shagas with the Netzolim. It's Einem Memahus of clouds. How can it be Mischaber with the maximum we could say that it can be goizer aleim gezeidas milmaila boivin shalhelim of to be miskasher itam eizef shaya. And that was the kashi. Uperfrat sheika inen mamutza. Now here's the other question. In other words, that he were talking about mamutza as forming a kesher b'derech Gilu v'yurido, or called ishtaushlet, no maila lamata. You can't really have that whole ishtaushlet, that whole ishkashas, amadregas, no maila lamata. They're not be'erach one to the other cloud. The father can't be Badar Mamutza. Like it was Masbah, the whole idea of a Mamutza is that to be Bekidu, the Shnei Studim, and that they and even Be'emta, the Mishkasha, Vukulo. Adar, he said it can't be a Mamutza, but he said, Befrat, there's another Inyan in the Mamutza, and that is, as it were, no matter Lamaila. There's another Maila mitzad the Mekablim from the Mamutza. בפרט שאיקה עניין הממוצע הוא שעל ידי זה יהיה חיבור ושייכס להנאצלים אל העצמא. In other words, it's not just that it brings down the shefa in such a way that the neatzolim, the spheres and atzilus are makabu mizeh. Kilo, as you might say, Adar the Rebbe said the father, at least that they're makabel something, they're able to get a certain shefa mil maila. But the inyan from the mamutza who like ikar bezeh is that through the mamutza they can make their way into the Rosh Kol Inyanim, dahainu into the inyan from atzma. And Mamela, that's what he brought up and again to Nishomas Yisrael. That the ikar inyan of the mamutza is that really through that the Nishomas go back to their shaykhs and to their etzem in the atzma. And if he said, since that's a inyan in the mamutza and that's ikar, that's ikar inyan mamutza. Who shall it day here chibu shaykhs la neatzolim el atzma? Ve'eich yochol liyeh zois alidei mamutza kozeh. How can that be? In a zah mamutza that's made like this, the bechino el yoynu sheboi bechinas hadolah legamri min neatzolim. That's completely out. The inyan from hatoke legamri. It's another mahus altogether, and therefore the maximum of the kesher we could imagine would be b'derech gezeir of a beetle of a nit in an even from kesher where and kosh came with kalvachim and nit b'derech aliyah dar kom to a madrege because they would just be bottle legamri legabiarim. And therefore says the Rebbe Yid the Shaykhis that there should be a mamutza alidei shnei studim ha'ila. And therefore we answered the teretz that ikar hamamutza b'chinas chokmas timur. That ain't noch an ami. You have to have the inyan from arich and you have to have the inyan from atik. You have to have both of them. But they themselves are not the two studim in the mamutza. And we have to say that an emes of mamutza is one inyan. And it has in itself two studim which kills makasha them and joins them together. But two inyanim which are legamri separate, they can't really be a mamutza because, as you might say, they kill they're marachik. One is echad as hasheni. That's a definition shall I have. And therefore we're mafarish. That's what the Rebbe was medactic earlier in the chapters. That the emitis inyan from mamutza is one inyan she b'shnei tztodov who mishkasher the alien and the tachtein. And remember darkoi the shefa milmalamata goes into the tachtein, and beikar the tachtein is able to be oila derech zeh and reach its kesher with the alien. And therefore we have to say it's one inyan shnei inyanim sheboy aim gomrim at kesher. Or not two inyanim, they can't be a mamutza. Ela im kain they're mamish similar, mamish one to the other be'etim. And so here we see that they're not similar one to the other, and they're not similar to the mekablim. So we have to say that the emes of mamutza is something in between them, which is makasha them together, and then it all becomes like miksha achas, and it goes through into the neatzolim. Of the ability that dove be'emtza shemechabrom, they're not the inyan of a mamutza. So what is it? Ach ika hamamutza ubchinas chokmas ti moa. The inyan from chokma da arich, for that's the mamutza. Shezeh ubchinas chokma kamahus hanetzol. It's not. It's chokma how it is in rotzen. Aber al koponim it's chokma. It is the inyan from chokma. And if since it's chokma, albeit berichuk or alidei cyrus, as we saw, it's possible to form the kesher. Ubchinas moke lechokma da'a sila. V'imi yoyz ubchinas moke, and even though it's a moke, we call moke mahalezeh ubchinas havdola mia It's Bavdora mi Chokma da Atzilas. The Abba Yoinik mi Mazalo. We saw that Abba meaning Chokma da Atzilas is Yoinik from the Mazalas. You remember we had all beer, the Yud Gimel Mitzvah Lachamim, and we saw that there was Zinia from Abba was Yoinik Mazal. Shmini and the whole Riches, we were Mavaya Din from the Mazalas. The Bechinas Sidus Levad, Shahem HaOra Deha, Ora, Commission is Bully, Perik Reish Staller Vareish Ches. That we had, when I get to the Yud Gimel Midas Arachim, we had the whole beer in Mazal Noito, Mazal Nekei. We saw Bechinas Chitzenis, the Chochmasti, or that whole Hamshocha at the Cyrus. What do through that we make the Kesher with Chochmat Atzilas, or that's all Ayin from Chitzenis Chochmasti, or Bilva. Now, of course, in this whole Inyan, we're going to see that L'chari can ask, like we said before, since that's Chochma Sheba Arich and it's Chochma Sheba Rotzen, how does it really have a shaykhs with Chochma Hagluya? And therefore we're going to see that wherever you have Chochma, you've got certain milas. In the Inyan from Chochma, wherever you meet it, there's going to be certain milas. And therefore, even though that's Chochma, in the Inyan from Rotzen and Emes, it's all kesher with Chokma Gluya in Atzilas is only B'derach Seides, Bilvat. It's not a Inyan from Gilui B'derach Seider. After became, mitzad the miles that we're going to learn take in the Inyan from Chokma, it does also upon him give it that necessary kesher and erech to the Ne'atzolim. However, the Inyan for Bechinas Chitzenis the Chochmas Timor. Avol Pnimis the Chochmas Timor, who Bechinas Moiche Da'atiko Mamish. Shemarubish Bezeh Bechinas Pnimius Atik Mamish. A commotion is Bul Iyo Perik Reish Gimel. In other words, that the Pnimius of Moiche Timor is Moiche Da'atik. Now that Inyan for Moiche Da'atik we're going to be Mavaya a bit more as we go along here. The Kavanah over there is Davke Das Da'atik, and we'll see a little bit more about what's the pshat, well, upon him, the Havana in that expression, Moiche Da'atik. However, it's a Inyan from Atika Mamish, Shemalubish Bezeh B'chinas Pnimius Atik Mamish. We're going to see mitzad the Maila of that Moiche, or that Inyan from Moiche B'kol Mochim Yishach to Pnimius. But here, in this Inyan Moiche Da'atika, or that's the Inyan of Hamshochas Pnimius Atik Mamish. In other words, the mixture Sheba Etem, or that's Malubish in the Inyan, or that finds itself in the Inyan of Moiche Stimur Sheba Atik, and that Chochmas Stimur is Makabel and has in itself a slapshus of that Inyan of Moiche Stimur Atik. A commotion is Bul Iyo Perik Reish Gimel. Yalkein Bichtei Lahagia Lozeh, who Bechinas Oyer Choiza the Tshuva Davke. A commotion is Bul Iyo Perik Reish Kof Beis. That we saw that in the Inyan from the Chitzenis of Chochmas Timor, how it's a makif to the Inyan of the Pnimi, then it's enough in Pnimi Gufa, a certain aliyah in Lamayla Mitam Vadas. Well, this is the Inyan from Rusa de Liba. But to reach Mamish, the Tzada Elyon Sheba Mamutza, to go through the Mamutza into the Tzada Elyon, Mamish, in the Atzmas, you've got to come with a Toikif Masuyam, well, that's Tavke Alidei Oyer Choizer. Well, from that we see that even though there is a Kesher, and there is a Shocha from the different Madregas through the Inyan from Chochmas Timor, or how do they say in the ordinary language of a poshet is es nicht. It's not a simple business, and if you want to make your road up through that from being in the Ne'atzolim, how much was it? If you're a lot lower than the Ne'atzolim, and you want to make your road up into Pnimius Atik, which finds itself in the Pnimius Mamish Ve'atzmis, that finds itself in the Pnimius of Chochmas Timor, then you gotta find Aladalik Shur. There's got to be some sort of Inyan of Mina Meichakor. Korosi Medaf Adikot Medaf Ois Reisende. the beina. You have to tear out the kishkis and the bones to get up into that madrega. And therefore, it's how do you call it? It makes sense of a poshet isn't. And therefore, he said only through the inyan van oyer chayzer mitzad the aveda of tshuva. A commotion is burl perik reish kof bay. And that was the chapter we just learned. If I'm ever nimtzalef, he said that through avodas teshuva, then that's what's going to make the it's going to make the day. It's going to save the day that you're going to get up into moicha pnimoa datika or moicha stimoa datika. No buyers, no catches for the bait. Thrown out the bait. No catches. So the Rebbe Melech Mashiach says that the tshuva has already been done. Yidnom shen tshuva giton. Yidnom shen tshuva giton. Imam Melech, how do you get up? What is the Yer Chayzer now? How do you get up into how do you call it? Chochmas Timoa, and then you drive all the way up into you drive up Brem to Toikev. What do you do?
We're already there. The Rebbe said we did tshuva, so we're already there.
The
Rebbe said we did tshuva, so we're already up there.
Oh, he's a kohen. He's really halte van hoge zaken. He says we're already there. Nee, he don't even say why aren't you being makkelijk korbanos in the Beis Hamikdash? What's up his schmeichelster? He should be shraying out Mosai. He's a miller. Was it the beer? We have to say that the Pasha Tetzaveh and the Maimah from Pasha from the Maimah from Tetzaveh. Not with the Marish Chayres that they call it the last Maimah. Chas v'cho Cholila Tzerufin das Hazam in Zach. No, the Maimah from Ata Tetzaveh. Was steht dort? A lot is written there. It's very hard to know what steht there. What is not written there? I've also upon him a state that there's a how do you call it? A bitterkeit mitzat golas, a yid, even though everything looks fine, and he has his base of matters, and he's got everything was at Ariev, and everything seems to be good. After became a rice sticker, because he can't take the golas. Right? He suffers from the meaning of golas, but even a key neuro, even though everything looks to be okay. If everything doesn't look okay, I mean, in the matzah we are here in Eretz HaKodesh, the matzah is not okay. I mean, beklalas, I mean, befrotas, we're Baruch Hashem, Medan Terevis, everybody, Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem, Otwas Adar. And even the Abish gave us a bit of rain over the last couple of days.
A lot of rain.
Well, we need more. Halawai weiter. The Kohen Zotim mit Afghan weiter. In the fire is everything, is relatively. It's not. It's go bitte. The Golos has to be the tshuva jetzt. The Arois reisen for Golos. They're not being able to put up with the Golos. That is the union now. That is the truth. That is the Arois. But tshuva with the union of tshuva, derech hamuvan arogil. The Rebbe said that's already been done. And the Rebbe doesn't mince words. When he says a thing, he means it. That means that tshuva was already done. You don't quite know exactly how that fits. Well, that's your problem. You don't know how it fits exactly. There's a famous sigur. The Rebbe said he got kashiyas. He wanted he should have a teretz of all your kashiyas before Mashiach comes. The main thing is go out of the golas and take all the kashiyas with you. The main thing is go out of the golas and take all the kashiyas with you. And then when you'll see the Giluf and Mashiach, the kashiyas won't have any place anymore. But you can get out of the golas. Don't bother with the kashiyas. If they're still very dear to you, take them along. As ik steht in the Sikha from Reb. Amamere, we have all sorts of kashiyas and duas and ayens. Ain't kushiyas. The main thing now, the only thing now is to go out of the Golos. That's the Indian. Arois from Golos. That's an Akudiyat. That's the Indian of the Teikif of the Tshuva. Because when I was there one Fabringen, I forgot which year, Ayin, when the Rebbe went like that, Ad Mosai, and if you would have seen that, then you would have realized what it means, the Koyach of El Chayza. That's you, man. Oh, yeah. Where are we? Also, 3 times. The Heilige Hand. Oh, yeah. Well, that's the in and now, the Minamecha Karasi, and that's what we're in the mind of. That's one of the Ik in the Kudas, Bechelika Achre, Shalamaima, the inability to take the God, Kongulis Faneman. Mit Tuchainik, that was ich in Gesundheit, ich kann aber also, aber so I can't take the God. Man, das ist der Minamecha. And those are the teshiva, those are the erchoiza. Well, it depends what sort of a take. If you say Admar, sorry. If you just say Admar, say just be eight, you know, say, well, Admar, sorry. Just say Admar. Das ist eine Take, die kann brennen, von meiner Meidje, aber das ist eine von der Tshuva now. Well, that's the idea from the Chayza Tshuva Davke, and that was a commission is Bull, Leo Perek, Reish Kof, Beis, that was what we just learned. I mean, we didn't learn it quite like that, but I mean, that's it, the beer. Aber Klaus is the Rupchinus Chokma. The whole meaning from Chokma Stimo is that it's a meaning from Chokma. Brak, Rupchinus Chokma Mubdelas, yeah, the Leiber Chokma, yeah. It's not that's the emes of Pshat, Atu Chachim, the Leiber Chokma, yeah. In other words, the Chokma, Stimoa, as it is Chokma of Arich, Moiches Stimoa, Velosna Azar Kodesh. And that's a inyan from Chokma, how it is in Arich. It's a inyan from Chokma Muvdeles. In other words, it is Chokma, but like Gabi the Mekablim, it's not moving, I feel in the Kalim from Chokma da Atzila. So therefore it's called Veloi B'Chokma de Dia. Ayin she'ena b'chinas Atzmus. It's not a inyan from Atzmus, Sharei Atzmus, Ayin b'geda Chokma. He said, "V'gam b'chinas anei tzolim, Sharei Muvdo min Chokma." And it's not inyan from Chokma how it is in there tzolim. We just said it's Veloi B'Chokma Dia. It's another inyan in Chokma altogether. On the other hand, it's not Chokma. It's not Chokma. It is a getter from Chokma, but it's not Chokma Dia. And that's a famous beer that occurs in certain drushim. In Eter and other places, Rabbi is Masbir, that there's an inyan of talking about certain inyanim, but they're shlila. That because you can't really be mavaya, they're inyan, that therefore you talk about them b'chiyu b'shlila. You say Chokma, v'loi b'Chokma Yediyah. In other words, that you're immediately moishif the loi b'Chokma Yediyah, because that's a beer. What sort of Chokma you're talking about? And therefore, you're saying Chokma, but you don't really mean Chokma. You mean the shlila of Chokma. In other words, you mean Chokma is not really Chokma. And yet, on the other hand, it's still the Gabi Alakus aspect of Chokma. And that's the Indian. That we call a lot of the inonim in Amitius, moving, Klapi Lamaila Shila, and we call it even Shlila. And that's one of the inonim in Atzogas Shlila. And if says the Rebbe, that's the kunst of Chokma Stir Moa. That it's yeah and it's not. Es is and es is nicht. And if says the Rebbe, Dafke Adidei Zeh, because it's that type of amazing combination, he said it's gam loy mibchinas anei tzolim sh'arei umulto min hachokma. V'yesh boi mibchinas ha'atzmus mamish. It has in itself, as we saw, michtzes min ha'etzem, v'bchinas ha'pnimius v'ha'atzmus shaloi. V'gam yesh boi min ha'tzolim, hanei tzolim, sh'arei hu bchinas chokma al kol ponim. In other words, it's chokma b'derech chasogas ha'shlila, but it is al kol ponim chokma. And those are the pshat chokma, v'loi b'chokma yediyah. And Mamela, we all came, who begins Mamutza, Beina Ma'atzil, Ela Nertzalim. And therefore it can be the Mamutza, Shali Deze, Yuchel kol is chibur hane'etzolim el ha'atzmos. Like we pointed out before, there's no maila lamata and no mata lamaila, and b'negeya to the inif and nishomas, u'kamoy kein chibur v'kishur nishomas Yisrael ela atzmos. In other words, that the inif and chibur v'kishur of the nishomas is yesh limited the double of the loshen chibur v'kishur. Yeah, that's how they call it. Mafli the Indian a little bit more than stam chibur, because their Indian is pnimius, and that's gila pnimius in yonam, which is anyway the infant atzman. And that's what he brought earlier. In the Indian from Chochmas Timor is what he called kutra iloa, the kesher elyon. Kutra iloa is kesher elyon. Like we said in the Indian from tzitzis, we use that lotion, the kesher elyon midoraisa. And he brought that as a matter of fact. If you remember, there's got a certain shaykhs, Lafia Mavua, Berekuti Torah, Pasha Koira. There's a certain shaykhs. Because the tzitzis are also from Gilui min hamakiv, and their knaf, min haknaf, they got that they're godding themselves even from min haknaf, is so the same thing here. The Indian from kutra iloa, the kesher elyoin, here means the etzem kesher, the atzmas, with the whole haskola of the Indian oilamas. That be'ike is mitzad nishomas Yisrael. That's what he said. And Mamira nimta that nishomas Yisrael are like bekol mokim. They're the pnimius shebekol dolar, and they're the pnimius shebekol oilamas. And if he wants to be makasher himself, if he wants to be makasher himself to the oilamas, then he has to go through the nishomas, free of muzayin the nishomas. And there the pnimis v'atzmius, and then it'll be nimshach also b'derech mamere in the seder into ne'atzolim of atzilas. Or b'friya the etzem kesher in the nishomas. Mamere nimtze lefizeh that you're a bigger mechutin than what you really think. He said, Mary, you got way up there, you're the kesher, you're the kutra'i, you're the kesher earlier midaraisa, that's the nishomah. That's what the Rebbe says. Use your authority. How do you call it? Use your koyah. And in fact, we got here a koyah, a matzah. Yeah, when it's convenient for him, he's very well. And then every now and then he sort of goes quiet. This is the kutri law. You have to say Ad Mosai, and we're the ones who have to kesher the kutri iloa that is kashes, and the miktis mina etzem is b'emes in the neshama, and then it goes into the netzarim. Without the neshamas, it would seem to be possible to say that it wouldn't quite make it. But not the neshamas, because the neshamas come down into the pekel. They come down into the inyan for the ilamas. Over there, the pnimius atzmusam, they are anyway, the same, what you might call, makeup, the same schora. And if he makes the kesher first with them, and then also, chesed, albeit, he makes the way further down. And if you guys have to do it. You have to wegstellen. You have to say, Rabbeinu Shalom, genug. Ad Mosai.
Ad Mosai.
Oh.
Mosai.
Etor. It takes me out mummy. All this latonis that's going on now with all this government, all the Mars. But this is Leloi Huyu, this time latonis. Chaval al Adivo. It's so obvious that you got to leave it all behind and go into the mamutza and go into the kesher aliyah and say, here we are, Look back in that very raised down, you see. He says the whole Indian is only tzrib the nishomas. And then Mamela the Elam is have it also. And anyway, he's got the nishomas, but that's what he did. He put them down into the pekel, and then he gives them the way back up. And they're the first. They got to make it for. Good for you, my. It's a mirror. That's it, guys. Taking me out, mamish. Who's got quite to wait to Purim? After taking me out, mamish. That's